Good morning, everybody on YouTube. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. All right, I did get several emails about this, but I got an email from a guy. He's in Florida, and he was asking me if I could break down the quality differences between Panasonic and Sony of the time on the Eiaj reel-to-reel machines, which is the half-inch videotape reel-to-reel machines, and just some of the pros and cons, and try to give me him a little guidance of what's the best to stick with. He's another guy who's getting into doing video transfers or wants to get into doing vintage video transfers, and he's got several decks he wants me to service, but he's not too sure which ones to ship because it's pretty expensive. Shipping is not cheap right now on the weight of these things, and he just doesn't want to. He's kind of picky on the best quality and which ones are worth fixing and which ones are just, he'll just hold on to them in case he needs to. All right, guys, we know that the cost of shipping has gone up. The cost of everything has gone up. And I'm going to try to answer this in a video because it's easier to do videos than it is to respond to emails. Because, you guys got to understand, I get between 100 and 150 emails sometimes in 2 days. It's just ridiculous. So we're going to answer this question by video. Of course, he does subscribe to my YouTube channel, so he'll be watching this very closely. He asks me about the quality of machines for Eiaj reel-to-reel machines. You got your Sony models, like here, which is a skip field Sony model, as you can tell, and then you got Panasonic models that come in cases like that. Panasonic versus Sony. I've talked about this many times to many people, so let's try to break it down. All right, you got to your left, this is a scanner, which is a Panasonic scanner used in some of the, generally all the different machines that Panasonic came out. It was used in many models. And then you got your video head bar, which is a brass bar with a contact disc on the top. Then you got your Sony models, which are the general scanners like this, which have an upper and lower drum, which are bolted with a plate in the back. And then you have to kind of position for the height of that when you're bolting these down. And you got to make sure the alignments for the PG coils are exact with the little aluminum spinning plates to make sure the PG coils are the right height and all that kind of stuff. It's a little bit more involved on the Sony drums because you have height and clearances and everything else. But generally, in retrospect, as far as retro video or old video, these two scanners generally do the exact same thing, but they're designed in a much different way. All right, here you got the Panasonic. As you can see, it's got a breaking coil, which is spun this way, where the Sony has a coil which is a little different, and this is your break-in disc here, and then you got your break-in disc in the Panasonic, which is very similar right there. Okay, all right, so the Panasonic, their drum was all in one. As you see, you got your drag pins on each side, which were mounted to the plate, which is also mounted to the scanner. Very heavy-duty brass mounting plate for the video head with the little aluminum head switching plates for switching with the PG coils. And then you got also where the cover goes on. It's a much better design. As you can see, it's all one design, and they got a hell of a lot more on it. And the best part about this is this scanner, it's one piece of aluminum that's been milled with the gap for the video head in the center, and it's also got this little grooved out section where the tape stays in place. Where on the Sony, you only have the little drag plate on the bottom. You don't have any upper. It's smooth. There's nothing like holding the tape down, except on the 8650, and they came out with these little wires. But on most of the Sonys, it's just the drag guide on the bottom, but no upper guide holding the tape in place, like a grooved out area. Where the Panasonic, not only did they groove it out so the tape stays in place, they use one piece of aluminum to actually cut out section for the video head to be spinning, all out of one piece. So you don't have an upper half and a lower half. You got one large piece of aluminum. So it's all preset. You know, all you got to do is slide the head in. If you're changing it out, you don't have to mess with the upper top part of it. And then you have a cover that comes down with these little wires, which is similar to this for the video head. And you got those little wires, and that just contacts the little disc. Much more efficient, much more easier of a design, by far a superior quality. Also, the tolerances are just a lot better braking. They don't use a little drag band like the Sonys do, which are complete crap with the little knob. The Sonys have a nice little drag plate with a little rubber drag boot that actually drags, and tension is easy to do on a little slide rule. A superior design by far for these reel-to-reel Eiaj machines. So, Panasonic is the best machines ever made. This drum was used on several of the Panasonic units. And of course, I mean, just look at the quality that Panasonic put into their stuff. Brass bars. These are solid brass. Video heads are a lot better. I mean, it's just incredible. And then you got the disc where the wires touch, you know, for your little upper plate, so you can get the wires to make the contact to the heads, and voila, you're in business. Where on the Sony, you got these heads are a little cheaper on these things, and then you got the little wires on the sides that make contact for the heads itself, and it's a lot more of a pain in the ass. You got your upper drum, lower drum. You got to make sure you got the right tolerances. You got to make sure the PG coils are in the right place. You know, those are sometimes off, and you have to reset those. These little wires, they wear out a hell of a lot faster than the wires on the Panasonics that actually touch the disc. Much more, less wear and tear because it's touching a disc, and it's on the tip of the wiring. It's a lot more efficient compared to a whole wire dragging on the side of the head bar, which is more wear and tear. So, and plus, like Sony, they went with aluminum head bars. Sony just did a lot more with aluminum, but they were more of a not that great of an efficient design. Where Panasonic on the Eijs, they use brass, they use disc for video head connections. They use solid aluminum for the one-piece drum instead of in two halves. They put the drag pins on both sides. They casted the aluminum 60 hertz belt connector on the bottom here, which they used a better braking coil, more slimmed down, more well built. Everything on the Panasonics was high end, seriously. So if you're wondering if you're going to get into Eiaj reel-to-reel, people are asking me what models should I look for. Look for the Panasonic NV3120, NV3130, NV3160. Very high quality color black and white machines. If you really are a fan of Sony's, which I am not, you want to look for the Sony models, AV 3600, 3650, 8650, 8600. Those were the Sony models, and the designs were extremely similar, not very good quality. You'll have problem with drag band tension and skews being broke, you name it. I mean, Sony just made a crappy fucking machine, seriously. Panasonics were well built. They used a lot more rubber as far as tire, rubber tires for spindles. But once you get everything changed out rubber-wise, I mean, these machines were the shit. I mean, they seriously were extremely high-end. Plus the electronics. Let's talk about that. Panasonic's electronics, the color signal and everything was so much more denser and higher quality and sharper than the Sony models were. So if you're going to get an Eiaj machine and you want to get into half-inch Eiaj reel-to-reel recordings, Panasonic, hands down, are the machines you need to be looking for. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it answers questions out there to people getting into the video industry and wanting to learn about these machines. That's your answer. And I work on an awful lot of these machines. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've been fixing these machines for years. Panasonic is the best, hands down. Hope you enjoyed this video.